is the Woodstock of automobile racing.
Sebring in central Florida's highlands is renowned as one of the world's toughest racetracks, along with Le Mans and Daytona. It is part of sports car racing's holy trinity.
So sick, baby. Here we go. Sebring, baby. Let's go. Go forward.
Championship. We're in Sebring, the heart of endurance racing in America. Just take in this atmosphere. It's been 7 years since we were last here, and this time our teams have got 1,000 miles to contend with.
Great to have the opportunity to come to Sebring, and you know, we don't need fancy garages, we don't need all those kind of things. I think we need to race in the right places.
See the bumps and the heat together, physically it really gets to the driver and to the car. It's putting a lot of wear on the tires and what the suspension and the cars have to deal with lap by lap. 8 hours will be a challenge.
When the race weekend starts, the fans flood the entire pit lane, they flood the paddock area, and it's just, that energy is infectious for us as drivers, just pumping us up to go out and put on a good show.
See the fastest lap times ever around that track. For sure the record's going to be broken quite easily.
For the dedicated US sports car fans, this rare opportunity to catch some of the world's best racers on their doorstep is not to be missed.
Can you find a tougher track than this? And then to go 12 hours, and then we're going to do WEC, and then the IMSA cars. It just beats them up. So if you're going to watch racing, this is the place to be.
The opportunity to see fantastic racing, fantastic car and engineering. It's just great to see them back. I couldn't wait.
Is it nice to be back?
It is, yeah. A lot of friendly faces in the paddock. I think everyone welcomed me back, and I've done a lot of racing in the US before as well, so within both paddocks I feel right back at home, and yeah, really happy to be back in the WEC.
it's more risky, but it's also more rewarding when you do a good lap because it's harder to get close to the limit than a normal track. So no, it's a good feeling and it's great to drive around here.
This is known as the Mardi Gras of motorsports, the Woodstock of motorsport.
I love the WEC.
WEC is extraordinary.
As the grid formed up, there was a moment to remember the late Charlie Whiting, who passed away sadly during race week. A friend, confidant and mentor to many in the paddock. Racing in the US always has a unique atmosphere, and with nearly 200,000 fans jammed into Sebring Raceway, the grid was opened to allow them to see the final moments before the World Endurance Race at close quarters.
How are you, man?
Pole sitters in the GTE AM class, 77 Dempsey Proton, Julian Andlau and Matt Campbell joining Christian Reed, still the only man to have started every FIA World Endurance Championship race. Porsche was also dominant in qualifying in the GTE Pro class, pole position going to Michael Christensen and Kevin Estre. They were hoping for good conditions for the race.
Now the weather is changing a lot. There was a few drops on the way to the grid, so drop of rain, so it's going to be interesting. I hope it's going to stay stable because this track is already challenging enough when the weather is stable. So, but we'll see. We have a good car.
Sebring 12-hour drivers and crews were also mingling with the fans on the grid, like Timo Bernhardt catching up with old friends.
I mean, I spoke with a lot of fans, and many fans from Europe, and they say they like this because it's one more reason to fly over here to have both of the best championships in sports car on one race. So I think it's a perfect event, I think.
At the top of a tight LMP2 qualifying battle, again Jackie Chan DC Racing went 1-2. Points leaders number 38, Gabriel Hopintung and Stefan Richelme claiming the class pole and that vital bonus point. In the LMP1 battle, it was Rebellion who had the upper hand over SMP, and Dragon Speed, the number 3 car, third fastest in qualifying the best non-hybrid, but Toyota dominated the front row, crushing the old track record set back in 2012 with the number 8 car poised on pole.
The fact that we have lots of concrete here, it's very bumpy and not easy. It's difficult for the cars, difficult for the drivers, so it's up to us now to do the best we can with that, you know.
The Super Sebring weekend was a joint effort between the ACO, the World Endurance Championship and IMSA, bringing the world's greatest sports car races together in one place.
The cooperation between the World Endurance Championship, the ACO, the FIA, IMSA, and most especially the track staff here could not say enough good things about that. The way it's come together, I think, speaks volumes.
Two fantastic races on the same weekend. We have just to enjoy and just to see the face of the fan, of the drivers, of the team. This is the only satisfaction we are looking for, definitely. So it's a great satisfaction. And just for the memory, we launched the WEC here 7 years ago. So you feel like back at home, and it's really a big pleasure, just big satisfaction.
Wonderful, thanks very much. So all that's left now is for our Grand Marshal, Mr. Alan McNish, to wave the flag.
Seconds to green flag.
Lights out on the safety car, cars rolling under the bridge onto the front straight. We are ready for the 1,000 miles of Sebring to get underway. Toyota 1-2, the number 8 car, pacing the field, then Rebellion versus SMP and LMP1. The flag waves, the 1,000 miles of Sebring is underway. The inside line for the number 8 Toyota, and a run to the first corner means they will keep the lead. Rebellion's number 3 car staying in third place, and the Jackie Chan DC Racing cars side by side for the lead of LMP2. 37 making a move up the inside. You can see it from Nico Lapierre. Change of the lead immediately, halfway round the first couple of corners in the GT categories. In GTE Pro and in AM, everybody looking to make a fast move. Ben Hanley in the white Dragon Speed car, battle for 6 with Bruno Senna in the number 1 Rebellion. Had the inside line down into turn 17, and Bruno had to give way, so Dragon Speed move up a spot. They had problems in qualifying, and they weren't alone. Racing Team Netherlands starting at the back of the field along with a 97 Aston Martin. Nico Lapierre trying to grab second place in LMP2 from Ho Pin Tung. Around the bumpy circuit, Ho running out a little wide. Lapierre with the inside line, diving through. He's up to second place, and there's further trouble from behind. The 31 car in the hands of Anthony Davidson. Toyota streaking away out front for the moment. Sebastian Buemi just staying out of the reach of Jose Maria Lopez. Trouble for Bruno Senna, number 1 Rebellion in the pits. You can't wheel the car into the garage here. If the problem is a major one, they're going to have to go all the way back behind the wall. GTE Pro battle for 4th place. It is Ford versus Corvette. Now that is generations old. Antonio Garcia in the single Corvette around the outside of Stefan Mucker in turn 17. This requires ultimate trust between the drivers. Mucker makes it hard but doesn't wipe him out into the tyres. That is a big move from Antonio Garcia. The Corvette now set on chasing down the BMW in front for 3rd position. Battle for 8th place in the GTE Pro class. Here comes the Aston Martin, that's Nicky Team. Closing in on the red Ferrari of Davide Rigon. Ferrari lacking pace early in the race. Looking back from the 91 Porsche. Looks like the Aston's trying to do a Garcia go outside. Now he cuts to the inside in turn 17, but there's trouble behind. There are LMP1 cars coming. And that is Vitaly Petrov in the SMP car. Right behind him is Ben Hanley. And look at the Aston. He's squeezing by the Ferrari. Top end speed has the advantage. And Ben Hanley losing out a little bit. Well, watch as the SMP car goes through. And then Hanley doesn't have enough room to lunge the Aston Martin down into turn 1. He thinks about it and then realises the door will close. More Aston pressure for Davide Rigon. This is Alex Lynn, who started on the final row of the grid after they had an electronic issue in qualifying that prevented them from doing 2 driver runs. But he has got race pace that the Ferrari can't match. He just arrives and drives right by. It's going to be a long race for Ferrari. unless they can manage their hopes against this track. Change for Dempsey Proton. The 88 car has now moved up to third place ahead of 77. And that was not a free pass, that was an attack. So the two cars battling for supremacy. Battle for fifth position, Vitaly Petrov with Ben Hanley right behind him now. And this has been going on for several laps. The gap grows and shrinks in traffic. Right now they've got half a lap in front of them with very few cars. A chance for Hanley to attack. LMP2 battle for second place. The car's bouncing all over the racetrack. Look on board with Nico Lapierre. The concrete here laid in 1941 as a US bomber base, and it is still the racing surface. Number 8 Toyota in traffic. GT and LMP2 cars in front and trying to thread the eye of a needle. The team reckon they're going to be passing around 100 cars an hour. Early pit stop for Dragon Speed's 31 car. Shed a wheel in free practice. Anthony Davidson is back in. Is that a vibration? Problem 2 for 38. Now this car back into the pits again, not a scheduled stop. And they are attaching something inside the car or reattaching it. It looks as though they've got an electronic issue. Corvette under pressure from Ford and BMW. 3 wide, almost going into turn 1. The Corvette is starting to lose ground. 66 Ford goes by, so too does the 81 BMW. There's a Porsche lining up behind. Early in the stints, the Corvette was marching up the field, and now it, like the Ferraris, is sagging down the GTE Pro order. Antonio Garcia lost 2 spots in one corner there, and he's got 3 more cars running quicker than him right behind. Stefan Mucker with Martin Tomczyk in the BMW right behind. Tomczyk having a big lunge down the inside. And through he goes, but there's contact. So Mucker trying to cut back underneath the BMW. One of them has lost some aerodynamic bodywork. And with a long 8-hour, 1,000-mile race, you don't want to be damaging the car this early in the proceedings. It can be a long race otherwise with an out-of-balance machine. BMW versus Ford for second place. Harry Tincknell in front of us. Kevin Estre just 1.5 seconds up the road. You can see him around the corner of the Ford. Look at the BMW really pouring on the power. Just drives around the outside of Harry Tincknell. Fantastic move up into second place. And the Porsche will not necessarily be safe from attack either. Both BMWs now showing pace that they didn't have early in the race. Driving on their tyre grip early on, and now exploiting fresher rubber wear. From the back of the grid, the yellow Racing Team Netherlands LMP2 car that started last, Nick de Vries, the young Dutchman, now chasing down Pierre Thirier for second in LMP2, but not without a moment's trouble getting around the AM-Class Project 1 Porsche. Battles everywhere you look in the GTE Pro class. And the BMW that jumped the Ford a couple of laps ago is now jumping Kevin Estre's pole-sitting Porsche for the lead. Augusto Farfus having a great run in the BMW. We have a new GTE Pro Class leader for the very first time. Michael Christensen, Estre's teammate, doesn't look impressed. Second place has changed in LMP2. Nick de Vries from last almost to first in class. And here's how it happened, the long way around the outside, and he grabs the spot. Wholesale pit stops for the GT classes, AM and Pro. Third, fourth and fifth coming in, both Fords together, and everybody will be single stinting their tyres and drivers. Temperature 32 degrees of air temperature, 56 of track temperature at the start, punishing for driver and tyres, and for the car cooling systems as well. And it's here, even in a race this long, that races can be won or lost. The drivers may get a rest, but the hard work pit crew will be swaddled in their fireproofs all day long. Out goes Andy Prio, out goes Billy Johnson, both Fords ahead of the BMW that was between them as they came into the pit lane. It's that kind of sharp pit work from Ford that may well cycle the 67 car to the top of the pile when the front runners come in for their stops. So great work by the crew, and they will need to be on their mettle every time the cars appear. Leaders are in, 82 BMW and 92 Porsche. Estre straps in Christensen, and a hot Augusto Farfus is with Louise Beckett.
I knew with this temperature it was all about tire management, and that's how I started the race. Pretty much just looking out for my tires, and I could see the guys in front a little bit over pushing. And I knew looking up the tires would have been our only chance. So still a long way to go, but it's good to show some speed, some pace. Now let's have some rest and bring it home.
Big changes after the first round of pit stops. Andy Priaulx some way up the road from this four-car battle for second. Bruno Spengler in the BMW, Michael Christensen the Porsche, then Billy Johnson's Ford ahead of Nicky Katzberg in the other BMW. No sign yet of Ferrari or Corvette really finding much pace on fresher tyres. It looks at the moment to be a Ford, Porsche, BMW three-way scrap. Nicky Katzberg in the BMW having a run on Billy Johnson, squeezes in front, but Johnson comes back down the inside, retakes that position. Fernando Alonso ready for duty. Sebastian Buemi out wide in the number 8 lead Toyota. Real puncture risk every time you drop a wheel off the circuit though. Trouble for SMP Racing, 5th position Vitaly Petrov with a right rear puncture. That is very likely to be by dropping the wheel off the circuit. Petrov crawls back. Let's take a look at how it happened. Down the far straight, just a huge explosion as the stressed tyre lets go. It's delaminated, shredded itself all the way around the suspension. The team having to remove the rear bodywork to try and cut away all that metal. Fernando Alonso ready to get back into the fray. Number 8 car will retain its lead. Number 7 temporarily taking the advantage, but half a lap behind as Alonso is ready to go. So many fans and so much racing here at Super Sebring. With 2 race weekends jammed into one, the fans are ready for action. Alan Manish and Louise Beckett heading down to the famous Turn 10 crowd to catch up with old friends.
From that line to where the marshal's supposed to.
These guys have been coming here since the early 90s and camping out and growing, and Alan, that's what it's all about here at Sebring, isn't it? I mean, look at the structure even.
The first time I came here, Louise, was 1997, and it was just a place full of passion. It's an old school circuit, it's got an old school feel about it, but the thing that really makes it special, and it is extra special, is the fans. They're all around the circuit. They've been piling in since Wednesday morning and preparing their own grandstands, preparing their own facility, and as you say, Turn 10 Club is probably the most memorable one, and these guys live it every single year.
It's just such a special vibe here, isn't it?
It's sensational actually, because it's all about racing, but that actually is just the reason to meet up as well. And this weekend they've got some special racing going on, but they've got a real friendship, and it's that association that I think us, I've got to be honest, in the paddock sometimes forget, and we should remember that the fans are a huge, huge part of what makes the WEC special.
SMP Racing's Igor Orochev now ahead of Nathaniel Berton in the number 3 Rebellion. A change for 3rd position. The battle seesawed to and fro, and in the end it was traffic as so often. Berton caught out behind the Ferrari. Orochev the long way round, up into 3rd. Changes again in the GT balance of power in the Pro class. Porsche and Corvette coming back into the equation. The big yellow thundering V8 powered machine working its way into the battle between Ford and BMW. But class leader Andy Priaulx is way out front.
Folks, are they closing? No, mate, you're extended. Been holding them all on for us, although that is starting to spread a little bit as well.
Toyota still dominating the race, number 8 pulling away from the number 7 car seemingly with every lap. Fernando Alonso overtaking more cars per lap than in the average Formula 1 season. That's one of the real challenges of the circuit.
We cannot be more unlucky with the traffic. Yeah, I saw that. Don't worry, continue.
Full course yellow, full course yellow.
First caution of the race, nearly 2 hours into the 8-hour distance, and this is Igor Orodchev, the BR Engineering driver, off at turn 1, runs wide. Oh, so nearly got away with it, but snagged the tyres, and that is a huge debris field. That's going to take a while, not just to move the car, but to get rid of all that carbon fibre, and he is absolutely livid. Wholesale pit stops then, just about at the right time for everybody. Fresh tyres, fresh driver, full tank of fuel, and the GT battle will rage on again. In comes the race leader, Fernando Alonso, for fuel, and the door opens for the passenger side, so he will stay in. 67, our GTE Pro leader. Andy Prio still with a very handy margin over the massive battle behind in the Pro class. So full service for Ford. Safety cars out. That'll bring the field back together. Ford lose their advantage.
That's a bit disappointing. Had a really good outlap, good stint, and yeah, put a nice gap to P2, but it's all closed up again. That's racing, but yeah, we've got a great setup at the moment, so hopefully we can get our head down and go again. But it was a very tough first stint for Harry. He did a great job, kept it pretty much in position, and then I managed to jump the P1 car on the outlap, which was really nice, and then got my head down. So really happy with the stint, but yeah, safety car, that's racing, and we've just got to, you know, this is not won until the last lap, so you just got to keep your head down and deal with what comes your way.
Back to green flag racing, and the number 8 Toyota is the beneficiary of the safety car. The number 7 car couldn't pass slower cars until the line, and the gap that was down to just about a couple of seconds automatically opens up. The GTE Pro Class battle continues to rage. Aston Martin now finding a little bit more pace, up to 5th and 6th ahead of the 92 Porsche. So Kevin Escher, the car that started at the front of the field with Michael Christensen and led early on, now down at the bottom of the top half dozen. What can they do about the Astons? In the GTE AM class, Giancarlo Fisichella bringing the 54 Spirita Race Ferrari back into the equation. Matt Campbell, the Porsche Junior driver, in front of him, just 24 years old already, very experienced in GT racing. And Giancarlo Fisichella with the bit between his teeth. First stint of the day for the Italian in the Ferrari, in third, and definitely looking to move up the order. Through has gone Fisichella. Was the Corvette part of the problem for the Porsche? It had been right behind Fizzy. It looks as though the Italian may well have used the faster car to get by the Porsche. Whatever, Fisichella up to second, the leader in GTM right in front of us. And this is not the Corvette's problem. Fisichella just had a good run going down the inside onto the back straight. Matt Campbell running out wide onto the dirt, losing traction. Jörg Bergmeister, the GTE AM leader in the Project 1 Porsche, right in front of Giancarlo Fisichella. Egidio Perfetti started the car. Louise Beckett is with him now.
It's fantastic. I mean, the team did a great job. Porsche helped us, DHL helped us, so it was important and fantastic to get a second car here. And okay, it took us some time, but we are pleased with the performance in qualifying, and even more so now in the race. I think that Jörg is defending for position. We are leading the race. Obviously, Fisichella behind him is pushing hard. We'll see how this pans out, but we are very pleased to be here and to be competing so well.
Bergmeister in the tyres at turn 1. What happens here? It's Fisichella on the inside, drifts wider, and Bergmeister has no way of saving it. It wasn't a big impact, looks like the car's okay. There's Jörg Bergmeister. So he is running still, rear wing attached and straight. He's down to 5th. Fisichella leads, but surely the stewards will look at that not beneficially for the Spirita Race team. Mike Conway slots himself into the number 7 Toyota. Still second place as they came into the pit lane, a lap ahead of the number 8 car in their pit stop sequence. Adjustments being made. Fernando Alonso out as he stops the lead car, and Kazuki Nakajima is the man who will take over. First stint for Kaz in the car. Trouble in turn 17 for Pastor Maldonado. Fresh out of the pits, drifts out wide on the marbles and drags the rear end of the car off. That's the second rear end on the car. They've already had to change it. And there's debris in the road as well. Oh, and the Ford runs over it.
I have debris on track at the exit of T17. I have debris on track at the exit of T17 on the race line.
Maldonado heads back to the pits. He's not alone. Full course yellow to clear up the debris. And again, almost the entire GT field pits as one. 67 Ford still with the lead, just ahead of the 81 BMW. The errant bits of carbon fibre grabbed by the safety workers.
Track is back to green, we're back to racing. Thank you.
It's been a slow motion race on the speed limiters between Harry Tincknell in the Ford and Alexander Sims in the BMW, the two Brits with their thumb on the limiter button, desperately waiting to go green. And for Tincknell, fortunately, it was just before a corner. He managed to block any chance of the BMW getting past. And now as they build up to speed once more, it is a two-horse lead battle. The other BMW in third place, right behind the number one Porsche. We ride with Jimmy Bruni down the inside of Antonio Felix da Costa through into third. Porsche stronger on the brakes. Aston Martin queuing up behind to have a go as well. And you can see there are LMP2 and LMP1 cars carving their way constantly through the field. Kazuki Nakajima goes outside, inside, just about everywhere apart from over the top. Look again as Jimmy Bruni gets the run down the inside. Antonio Felix da Costa couldn't close the door. Through went the Porsche. Henrik Hedman out of the number 10 Dragon Speed LMP1 car, hands over to Ben Hanley. Second race weekend in the US for Ben Hanley this weekend. Last week he and Dragon Speed were in St. Petersburg in Florida in Indy cars. The sun is setting at Sebring, cloudy skies and the forecast of rain. That's a rarity in 66 years of racing at Sebring. It's only rained 7 times in the 12 hours. That's not till the next day, but there is a forecast of rain before the end of the 1,000-mile World Endurance Championship race. Number 50, Labre Ligier, having a really good run, battling for 5th place with Francois Perraudot's TDS Oreca in front. The Oreca, one of 3 in the LMP2 field that's on Dunlop tyres. And the Labre competition car with Romano Ricci. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's closed down Perraudot, looking for a way by. Battle for 3rd in LMP2. Geert van der Gaard just ahead of Pastor Maldonado. Formula One refugees both used to driving at the highest level, but certainly not used to the amount of traffic that they have to deal with here. Maldonado with the team's last tail end on that car, so better make sure that this one comes back intact, no matter how the battle goes with the Dutchman. As the sun sinks, the air temperatures drop, so has the track temperature, and that's affected the balance of the cars along with the engineering of the crews. Look at this, Aston Martin in 2nd place, Nicky Team battling with Alexander Sims' BMW. Sims got by, and Team holds the inside line all the way through to retake the spot. Aston Martin looking stronger than at any stage in the race as we approach the halfway mark. Around 4 hours of daylight from the 4 p.m. start. If it goes all the way to midnight, 4 hours of the race will be in darkness. May not just be the GT cars that are feeling the effects of the cool air. Number 7 Toyota is closing in on the race leaders.
I think the pit stop, the other guys have lost a little bit. But yeah, it's been a very tight fight, and yeah, mainly traffic is the main player today. It depends how much risk you want to take, and it's very hard over here. So yeah, it's still a long race ahead. We see, hopefully we can bring both cars safe home, and let's see what happens.
Into the pits comes the leader as the GT Pro pit stops continue, cycling through the order. 91 Porsche got to the top. Jimmy Bruni hands over to teammate Richard Leitz. And they're in the race to get ahead of this battle. Darren Turner and Kevin Estre, their sister Porsche car, coming down the straight. There's Richard Leitz coming out of the pit lane. He's building up to speed. Estre at speed. He's got to follow the Aston. He wants to deny his teammate a chance to come through. Oh, it's close between the two of them, but you're never going to win a race if you don't beat your own teammate first. And through he goes. Christensen watching with anticipation. Toyota 1-2 from Rebellion. Jackie Chan DC Racing comfortably leading in the LMP2 category. In GTE Pro, it's still anybody's battle with Aston Martin in front as the pit stops cycle through. Aston Martin also leading in the AM category at the halfway mark, 4 hours into the 1,000 miles of Sebring. The 98 car ahead of a brace of Porsches and Ferraris. The lead battle is as close as it's been since about lap 2. Mike Conway within a second now of the race lead number 8 Toyota of Kazuki Nakajima. There they go, carving their way through traffic. Nakajima gets to the slower cars first, but it looks at the moment as though he is just about getting enough brakes in the traffic. And here's a great example. Conway having to dive deep inside the TF Sport Aston Martin, just gets through. But the cards are falling well for the number 8 car. Darren Turner third, but no longer third, going slowly in the Aston Martin in the GTE Pro class, and here's why. He has spun the car. Well, that does not happen often. Out of third place. Oh no! From behind, he's been hit by the Porsche, and that must have been the 92 car of Kevin Estre. A stop-and-go penalty. Oh, on board with Estre. There's Darren Turner right in front. Estre tries to cut back, gets on the throttle, cuts back again. Oh, and just a fractional misjudgment. Turner gets knocked into a spin, and the penalty is applied to the 92 car. They take their medicine immediately. Stop, go, back in the race. Still a race to win and barely half distance. Trouble for the number 1 Rebellion car. This is Matthias Besch. They've had gear selector issues. They've been in and out of the pit lane, and he's now stranded on the curbs. Right on board, listen. Well, looks like he carried a bit too much speed in. No downshifting. Has he got a box full of neutrals? Now trying to turn himself around. And can't donut the car. Traction. Oh my goodness, that's the Toyota. And more cars just missing him. Matthias Besch struggling to get the Rebellion going again. What we're seeing here, this is Jose Maria Lopez inside the TF Sport Aston. Oh, bounces over the curbs, but was there contact with the Aston Martin as well? 7 in the pits. Rear end change. Now they've not just changed the rear wing section for balance, but they've changed the engine cover, so there must have been contact. There were tyre marks on the side of it. Looks like both cars just about got away with that, and Matthias Besch in trouble. He's in the wall. Now the engine is fired up. Is there right rear damage? This car in all sorts of trouble. Let's take a look here. Oh my goodness! Just misses one of the AM class Ferraris as he goes straight across the corner. Oh, in all sorts of trouble. Couldn't get the car stopped again.
Car 1 is going to be pushed to his tent. Car 1 is going to be pushed down the pit lane towards its tent.
They've already lost a whole heap of time, and this really is going to cost them any chance of a good finish. Behind the wall it goes. Number 1 may not reappear. This is a replay from the number 8 race-leading Toyota on the grass, trying to go around the outside of Renger van der Zande in the number 10 Dragon Speed LMP1 car. And when you're making so many passes in traffic in the darkness, the danger is ever present. Toyota got away with that one by the skin of its teeth, but every time you pass a car, you are taking some sort of a chance. Replay of Vitaly Petrov in turn 1, hits the bumps in the wrong position, loops the SMP Racing car around. Looks like there's no damage done. New teammate for him this weekend. It's a familiar face. It's Brendan Hartley.
Yeah, I mean, I kept it clean and tidy. We lost a lot of time at the start of the race when Vitaly had a puncture. So yeah, we're coming back, but you know, to get a result now, we're relying on someone else to have a problem. So we're keeping it clean and just trying to get to the end. But yeah, it was pretty hot in the car, and yeah, I'm just recovering, getting ready for the next stint, and also for tomorrow because I've got another one tomorrow.
Little over 3 hours left here at Sebring. 8 hours is the maximum time. We're not going to make the 1,000-mile distance now because the safety car and full course cautions. Renger van der Zande back in the number 10 Dragon Speed car. Henrik Hedman complained that the car was difficult to shift during his stint, but he still has done a great job. Leaders in LMP2 are in. Will Stevens walks away from the car, and fellow new boy David Heinemeier Hansen takes over at Jackie Chan DC Racing. This is the car the All-Malaysian crew drove up to Christmas. 67 in the pits as well. GTE Pro Class leading Ford, still with a slender advantage at the front of the field. Third driver in that car, Jonathan Bomarito, joining Harry Tinknell and Andy Priaulx. Sebastian Buemi staying in, double stinting the race leading number 8 Toyota, clearing tyre debris out of all the ducts. And there's Fernando Alonso. Race going well for them so far. Sebastian Buemi leading in the number 8. Heinemeier Hansen, 37 Jackie Chan DC Racing on top in LMP2. 67 Ford and 77 Dempsey Proton Porsche are leading the GTE classes. LMP2 firmly under control of the 37 Jackie Chan DC Racing car, but the 36 car from Alpine has been its closest pursuer. Nico Lapierre handing the car over to Andre Negrão. Louise Beckett down in the pit lane. Let's catch up with Lapierre, see how their race has been going.
I mean, the darkness is pretty hard here on this track, and there is more rubber and marbles outside of the track as well. The traffic is hard, so it's going to be a tough end of race, but at least the temperature went down a bit, so it's helping. We just have to make the right tire choice now, because we have to go maybe to a softer tire to finish the race. We are checking this right now.
Balance of power is changing subtly in the GTE Pro Class. Jonathan Bomarito, the leader, has been caught by the BMW.
Okay, JB, you did a good job there, mate. You did a good job. So 1.7 gap, so we need to keep it behind us.
Can't be exposed by that P1. Can't be that. I'm trying.
Bomarito struggling to get around the AM Class 77 Porsche. That's not helping him. But the Ford's previously dominant pace has ebbed away with the sunshine. And now the BMW looks like the strongest car on the track. Martin Tomczyk right behind in the 81 BMW. They're running a slightly different strategy. They fueled at different times to the Ford and Porsches, but right now, lower fuel level or not, Martin Tomczyk goes the long way, the brave way around the outside in turn 17. And for the first time in a long while, Ford no longer leads in GTE Pro. Pit stop for Jonathan Bomarito. Harry Tinknell takes over. Now, are they going to be able to chase the changing track conditions with tyre compound or tyre pressures? Fresh tyres going on for the West Country driver. Porsche in as well. Jimmy Bruni hands over to his teammate Richard Lietz. 91 Porsche came in as the race leader, looking increasingly competitive against the Ford and BMW battle. Toyota number 8 out front still, as it has been from the moment the race went green at the start. Apart from when it's been in the pit lane, there have been a few near misses, probably a lot more than the cameras have picked up as well for the drivers, but they've managed to avoid contact, and that's their big advantage over their teammates. An hour into the race, Ferrari were 10th and 11th of 11 cars in the GTE Pro Class. Now, conditions and the car balance are coming towards them. James Calado keeping himself clear of Kevin Estra's Porsche that was an early race leader. In the pits, the number 3 Rebellion from 3rd place. The sister car number 1 in the garage and out of the race. as we approach the final hour here in Sebring. Looks like they've got a lot of debris to be cleaned off and more problems perhaps with the electronics inside that passenger door. And that allows a change for third. The number 11 SMP racing car that had that big spin with Vitaly Petrov is back in front. Mikhail Alishin in third place.
Wet track. The track has just been declared a wet track.
A little over half an hour remaining. The first spots of rain that increase with severity. Rain had been forecast for late in the race. It had been raining heavily in southern Florida. And now it arrives here at Sebring, and immediately everybody on slicks is in all sorts of trouble. Andy Prio skating out wide, and this triggers a wholesale run to the pits. LMP2 leader is in, one of only 3 cars in the field on Dunlop tyres. And full grooved wet weather tyres. No, intermediates. They're going to gamble that the rain does not get heavier. Another car off, and that's the Labre competition Ligier. Leaders are in for Toyota. Will they gamble? No, surely they're going to play safe. It does look as though intermediates are going on. The rain at the moment is light, but it does look like it's getting heavier. The rain increasing here at Sebring. Inside the final 20 minutes, BMW making a last pit stop, but they will have to do fuel as well. It's not just tyres for them, and this could really affect the race. The leader is in and down, but the Porsche is gone first. The fuel has changed the balance of power. Porsche 91 leads from the 81 BMW with just a quarter of an hour of wet racing remaining. What a grandstand finale this could be in GTE. Both Toyotas back on pit roads. They're changing from intermediates to full wet weather tyres, the number 7 and the number 8. Nobody can catch them. All they can do now is throw the cars off the road and lose the 1-2. And the GTE AM leader shows just how slippery it is. Drifting out wide. And he's not the only one. This is why they've come in for wets. This is the number 8 Toyota off the road on Inters. And that is Loic Duval in the barriers. And hard in the barriers in the Orica. The TDS car is buried in. You can see how much he's moved the tyres. Safety car is out. And this surely is going to be the end of the race. The safety car picks up the race leader. The rain is now steaming down. And the TDS car is out of the race. Kazuki Nakajima, the leader in LMP1. Will Stevens for Jackie Chan in LMP2. Jimmy Bruni's Porsche in GTE Pro. And Matt Campbell's Porsche in GTE AM.
Safety car will put out his lights at turn 10 as foreseen. Cars will not overtake and take the checkered flag.
Final lap of the 1,000 miles of Sebring as we approach midnight. Toyota claim a 1-2 victory ahead of SMP Racing in the LMP1 category. The number 8 car wins again, breaking a run of success for its sister car. The championship leaders extend their advantage here in North America.
Yeah, on the start-finish straight, I couldn't even go flat out because the car was doing like this. So it was really tricky even just to bring the car home. So I'm really happy to come back here with no damage on the car. And yeah, the win is like a bonus for us.
Keeping out of trouble, sharp pit work and great speed from Richard Leeds and Jimmy Bruni. Could have been a battle royal at the end, but they ended up on top of the podium for the very first time together.
Richard took the start and it was just getting there, closer. And after the last 3 hours we were P2, get closer to BMW, and it was very good. I'm very happy. I think it's a great team effort. Great for Porsche, for Manthey, for me and Richie. It's amazing. It was too long, and now we are back.
Jackie Chan DC Racing's number 37 car dominated LMP2 with a brand new lineup. David Heinemeier Hansen, Will Stevens, and first-time sports car racer Jordan King. A dream debut for the trio. Christian Reed was a winner in the first ever FIA World Endurance Championship race in Sebring in 2012. He wins again with a 77 Dempsey Proton car, and he's competed in every race in between. A wet end was not enough to dampen everybody's enthusiasm for a fantastic Sebring race. The GTE Pro Class battle was always in question. Porsche grabbing it at the finale to lead the championship standings now by 100 points over Ferrari. The number 8 Toyota team stopped their teammates' run of success in its tracks as they claimed their third win of the season. 15 points clear now in the championship battle with their teammates. There are still 65 points on offer in Spa and Le Mans at the end of the FIA World Endurance Championship Super Season. None of our points leaders are yet anything like home and dry. There is a lot of racing still to be done. Toyota Gazoo Racing 1-2 ahead of SMP. Jackie Chan's LMP2 winning car almost making it onto the podium. Porsche grabbing the win in the final moments from BMW in GTE Pro. And in GTE Am, Porsche also on top of the pile. And despite the car-breaking nature of the Sebring International Raceway, only 4 cars failed to make it to the finish. For the start of the FIA World Endurance season, the Super Season. He's got nowhere to go. Wow. He slows right down to allow everybody to go. Eases the Porsche off onto the dirt.
Fantastic.